Hey YouTube, I just wanted to make a quick video for people that want to buy Russian tortoise for the first time. Some things that are good to know. I wanted to jump right into it and just mention about when you want to buy a Russian tortoise for the first time. Of course, you should do your research. Always do your research. That is very important. I mean, go on websites, things called turtle form or tortoise form. I mean, I really have never been on this site. Maybe a few times. Yahoo Answers. Look at videos on YouTube. I mean, it's good to do your research, but one thing I want to stress is don't overthink it. Russian tortoises are a hardy breed of tortoise. They're very strong and they're resistant to a lot of things. I mean, I'm not saying go throw your tortoise in a bucket of water and see if he can swim. No, don't do nothing like that. What I'm trying to say here is when you're looking to buy a tortoise, just don't overthink it. Don't stress yourself out. It's not worth the stress. Tortoises, especially like I said, the Russian tortoises is a hardy breed. Some people like to overthink it. Like when I first bought my tortoise here, Aoki, man, was I stressed out. I was worrying about what temperature it should be in my enclosure, how high I should have the humidity, what type of thermometers I should have, where should I put the thermometers, how often do I wet up my substrate? You know, I'm gonna just call it dirt. This is cocoa fiber from Eco Earth, but I'm gonna just say dirt. How often should I wet my dirt? Where do I make it humid? Where do I put my hay? How often do I give them hay? How often do I feed them? When do I put them in water? Should I leave a water bowl in their enclosure? You tend to overthink these things, and by overthinking, you know, you stress yourself out. You're gonna, believe it or not, this is what I believe. You'll stress your tortoise out because your tortoise depends on you. They feel your energy. You know what I mean? They sense these things. They're beautiful creatures. I think all creatures and animals, they sense your energy. So if you're negative, you're stressed out, they're gonna feel that stress. They're gonna feel that negative energy. They're gonna get stressed out. So just try not to overthink. Just do your research. You know, relax. If you feel too stressed, you know, give it a few days and hop back on the research. Don't overthink it. I live in California, so the temperature is pretty good out here. I built me a good size enclosure. That's one thing, one step you should take into consideration. How big is your enclosure going to be for your tortoise? You know, I've mentioned before in a few other videos, you don't want to put two tortoises in one enclosure because they'll fight. But you know, think about first thing first. How big is my enclosure going to be? How should I make it? You know, put things together, get some money together, get the equipment to build your enclosure, or if you're going to buy it, you know, make up your own design, look up videos. You know, this design, I've seen a couple designs like this on YouTube. I mean, I don't remember from who, but you know, mine's is a original. I came up with this and the little bridge, but I mean, I seen some similar videos on YouTube, and I mean, so I decided, I'm gonna just make an enclosure for my tortoise, and that's how I came about it. And then my next step was adding everything in it. But my first time, my first experience buying a tortoise, I mean, even though I did so much research, research on my tortoise. I've had him for 5 years now. I went to my pet store. It was PetSmart, and I ended up buying I think it was a 40-gallon tank. It cost me $200. You know, I bought a water dish, a food dish. I bought the tortoise commercial diet, the big pallets. I bought so many things that I did not need, and I didn't know any of it. I was just so excited to get a tortoise. So that's why I'm saying, don't get overexcited, do too much research to the point where you're just like, you're overloading your mind. You know, give it some time. Take your time. Don't feel in a rush to get your tortoise. And I say you come up with ideas for your tortoise. Don't listen really to what the pet store says, especially a mainstream pet store, because they're just gonna sell you things you don't need. And I mentioned that in another video of mine. So you know, just come up with your own ideas. But one thing I don't recommend: don't put them in a tank. It's unhealthy for them. And once you figure out what type of enclosure you're gonna have for your tortoise, what size, if it's gonna be square, if it's gonna be long, if it's gonna be round, whatever. You know, once you get that all figured out, then you buy your things that you need for inside of it. You know, I recommend getting a lot of hides. Once you get your hides, get your substrate. once you have your substrate, you figure out where to put it. You know, some people say put some hay in a corner and you're good to go. Me, my tortoise, from all the years I've had him, I learned that he likes hay a lot. He likes to burrow in it. He likes to cool off in it. He loves hay a lot. He loves chewing on it. But he also loves to burrow in dirt. So, you know, I have some hides like this right here in there where it's just dirt in there. And he burrows in there. And then I have humid hides. So you're saying, well, how do I make a humid hide? To me, a humid hide is, you know, I have a half log right here, and inside of that half log is my dirt, and inside the dirt I have it moist. So when he wants humidity, you know, humidity is caused from heat and the wetness of your dirt. See how I have my heat lamp on right underneath the damp dirt? Well, it builds humidity. Now, honestly, to be complete honest with you guys, Russian tortoises really don't need too much humidity. They're not a tropical animal. They don't come from the rainforest. They don't come from the jungle. You know, they come from dry, non-humid places like the desert. You know, Afghan, places in Asia. You know, so they really don't need too much humidity. I'm not saying don't give them no humidity. They love it. You know, every time I'm wetting my dirt right here, my tortoise Aoki, he loves to go in it. As you can see, look at him. He's just wandering around. He loves to go in it, burrow in it. But most of the time, I see him in his dry area, playing on that log over there, on the dirt right there where it's nice and dry, you know. But when he feels the need to get some humidity, he'll come over here. He'll burrow in the dirt that I have here, or underneath his log. So what I recommend on how to fix your humidity, I say about once a week, wet your dirt. Not too much. Mine's I wet yesterday, but I'll give a quick example of how you do it. I brought a cup of water right here to show you. All you do, it's so simple. You get a cup, you put water. It don't have to be warm water, ice water. You just pour it on your dirt, just like so. Now, you pour more than that. It's just mine's I wet it yesterday and I mixed it in. Once you pour it, you just mix it all around. You sift through it. You sift through it, you get it nice and even. You put some inside his log, inside his hide. You just mix it around everywhere. Make it nice and even. You know, you can have mounds in one place. Like back there, I like to mount it up because he likes to burrow over there. Look at him. He climbed down his log. He's silly. And, you know, I put some in there. And he'll just, he'll go in there and burrow. And I won't come back and mess with this for at least another I'm going to say week. Sometimes even 2 weeks, I'll go without wetting it, and you know it stays humid, especially underneath his log. It doesn't dry up quick. So when he feels the need to cool off, when he's really hot, he can either go in a dry cool spot. It's always good to have a dry cool spot. You see the shade line? He'll go under there, or he'll go under his log. Oh, he'll go under his log, and he'll burrow. You know, because for instance, if you don't wet your dirt. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not good. If you don't wet your dirt, you go too long without getting some wetness in here. What he'll do, he'll go under any hide, whether it be dry hay, dry dirt, you know, partially damp dirt. He'll go in there and he'll pee. And when he pees, he's releasing his fluids that he's built up over time by eating his lettuce, by soaking in water. And that could lead to dehydration. So that's why it's good to make sure you stay on top of that and you wet his dirt. That's how they regulate their humidity. They go in a spot and they pee and then they burrow. They pee and they burrow, you know, to make that humidity. But if you don't want your tortoise to do that, just make sure you wet your dirt at least once or twice a week, twice every 2 weeks, you know, once every 2 weeks. Just wet it. I mean, you don't want to be able to pick it up and squeeze it and water come out. That's over wetting it. Just make it a little moist to where it looks fresh, like if it just rained or something. And honestly, some people might be thinking, well, how high does the humidity level have to be? Honestly, don't even worry about it. Just like I said, as long as his whole entire enclosure is not wet, just one area, then he'll stay away from it. If it's too humid over here, he'll stay away. Or he'll go under his log for a bit, and then he'll leave. That's why it's good to have a proper size enclosure so he can regulate the heat. He can regulate the humidity, you know. If you have a small enclosure, it's going to be hard for him to get away from the humidity. That's why it's good to have a good size enclosure. You know, I can't stress enough how healthy it is to have a big enclosure for your tortoise. But yeah, like I said, that's what I'll do. Just once a week, just wet your dirt, not too much. He'll burrow and he'll hide in there, and he'll get cool. He'll get his humidity, and humidity is really good for them, man. It's good for their bones, good for their shell, it's good for their respiratory system. But I mean, don't stress too much over it, man. You don't need to buy yourself a thermometer that, you know, regulates humidity and you could read it. You know, all I really do, I just got this little guy right here. It just tells me how hot it is. And I mean, honestly, once you figure out your temperatures, what bulbs you need, you won't even need this thermometer no more. I mean, these are mostly for beginners, you know, because I already know what bulbs. I use 90-watt bulbs. You know, I have 100 for backup just in case it gets really, really cold. I pop one on. But what I learned over time, if you have a big enclosure, just have two sides. And if it's cold, pop on both lights, man. And it'll make it nice and warm in here. But yeah, that's what I usually do. You don't have to have both on. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Like, I have mine on a timer, but sometimes I'll just come here. I'll just turn this light off, and it'll stay nice and cool over there. So the humidity will go down, because there's no heat pressing against the dirt, and it'll just be nice and fresh and cool for him, and he'll go over there. If he's too hot on this side, if he's too hot over here, and oh man, I want some fresh, cool air, man, he'll come over here. It's next to my window too, and he'll just cool off. He'll go under his log. He'll get nice and fresh. And, you know, the dirt ain't too wet, so he won't get cold, and he'll just chill under there until he's cooled off. Then he'll come back over here. So you can do it like that, you know. If you think the humidity ain't high enough, just turn it on for a few hours. If you think it's enough, turn it off, and he'll go back and forth. So that's what I do for the humidity wise. But as in stressing out about your tortoise, like I said, when you go buy your tortoise, you know, take your time, do your research, but don't overstress, man. Don't overstress. I don't think that you need a water dish. You know, put your tortoise in a little bowl or dish every once in a while, just to soak. But you don't need one in your enclosure. It's really unnecessary, and it's a waste of cash. It just gets dirty. They pee, they poop in it. It gets filthy. They drink from it. I've had my tortoise for so long. He's so healthy, man. As you could tell, I mean, a lot of people have commented on it. He's very active. He's active all day, man. He loves it in here. I take him outside from time to time, but just get a water dish, fill it mid-shell, and, you know, put him in it for 10, maybe 15 minutes. No longer than 20 or 30, man, because sometimes I forget. I know it's messed up, but I forget him in that water sometimes. And yeah, set a timer or whatnot. But yeah, just put him in water from time to time, or that's it. You don't need a food dish either. I feed him on a piece of slate. You know, don't just put his food on the dirt, man. Do not do that, or on the hay, because it gets messy. You might get parasites in there. You might get ants or bugs. Just pick it up when he's done eating, or, you know, try to sift through it, find all the forgotten leaves, and just throw them away. And that's about it, man. I just don't want people to stress too much like how I stressed when I got my tortoise. I was really stressed out, man. I was so worried. I must change his substrate so many times until I figured out which one to get. And oh man. And another thing, people probably wonder, oh, how often do I change the substrate? I say about, I'm gonna say maybe, dang, as long as you spot clean this substrate, all his hay, maybe once every 3 months. Probably even longer, man. The thing that has to be changed the most is the hay. Russian tortoises love fresh hay. But other than that, I mean, you really don't have to change anything up too much. So just, you know, don't stress out. Be creative. You know, your tortoise is a strong, hardy tortoise. He could take anything. And just, you know, love him like you love any other pet. Just because he's a little tortoise doesn't mean he's any different. And yeah, other than that, that's about it, man. That's what I wanted to cover in this video. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, just shoot me a like. And please subscribe. And there'll be more videos to come. Thank you guys. If you need any advice or anything like that, or any suggestions on videos, just drop me a comment below, and I'll make sure to get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.